Imagine seeing the same graffiti name in Canada, then Germany, then France, then somewhere on a freight train thousands of kilometers away. Most graffiti writers become known in their city, some become known in their country, but only a small number manage to build a reputation that stretches across multiple continents. And that's exactly what happened to Aper. Over the last 2 decades, Aper has become one of the most recognizable graffiti writers to come out of Canada, building a reputation through relentless travel, freight trains, tunnels, and an incredible amount of graffiti across the world. So who is Aper, and how did a graffiti writer from Canada become known internationally? Aper is originally from Halifax, Canada. When people think of major graffiti cities, Halifax usually isn't the first place that comes to mind. Most people think about the places like New York, Paris, Berlin, but Halifax had its own graffiti culture, and that's where Aper began developing his style and name. According to interviews, he started writing Aper around 2003 to 2004. The name itself wasn't chosen because of some deep meaning. In fact, Aper has explained that he simply wanted a name that no one else was using at the time. And sometimes when it comes to graffiti, that's all it takes. Because in graffiti, what matters isn't where the name came from. What matters is what you can do with it afterwards. There's thousands of graffiti writers. Every city has them. Every train line has them. Every tunnel has them. So what makes one graffiti writer stand out from the rest? Usually it comes down to the consistency. Every second graffiti writer can paint a good piece. Anyone can get lucky and hit a famous spot. But building a reputation year after year is a completely different challenge. And that's one of the things Aper became known for. His name started appearing again and again and again, not just around Halifax, not just around Canada, but across different cities and countries. Eventually people started noticing it that no matter where they traveled, they kept seeing the same 4 letters. When a graffiti writer's name keeps showing up in unexpected places, people start paying that attention. One of the biggest parts of Aper's story is the freight trains. If you're not familiar with freight culture, it has a special place within graffiti. Unlike a wall that stays in one location, a freight train moves. A piece painted in one night might travel hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. That means your work can be seen by people far beyond your local area. According to interviews, Aper painted more than 1,000 freight trains while developing his style. Now think about that for a second. 1,000. That's an unbelievable amount of repetition and an unbelievable amount of practice. And over time, painting that many trains helped shape the bold lettering style that became associated with his name. Large, clean, easy to read, and highly recognizable. At some point, Aper stopped being just a Canadian writer. His reputation started spreading internationally. According to interviews, he spent significant amounts of time traveling through Europe and other parts of the world, places like Germany, France, and various countries throughout Eastern Europe, and it became a part of his journey, and each trip expanded his reputation. One of the things that separates highly respected graffiti writers from average writers is their willingness to leave their comfort zone. Different cities have different challenges, different train systems, different cultures, different levels of security, different graffiti scenes entirely, and Aper seemed determined to experience all of it. In several interviews, Aper spoke about how impressed he was about European graffiti culture. Europe has one of the most active graffiti scenes in the world. Entire train systems become covered in paint, massive productions appear overnight, and competition between graffiti writers can be intense. For someone coming from Canada, it opened a completely different world. The scale was bigger, the scene was larger, the opportunities were endless, and exposure to those environments helped shape Aper into the graffiti writer that he became. Because when you're surrounded by talented people every day, you either improve or get left behind. Another important part of Aper's story is his connection with TRG, and that is the Tunnel Runner Gang. Within graffiti circles, TRG has become a well-known graffiti crew. The name itself immediately gives you an idea of the kind of spots they became associated with. Tunnels, train systems, underground environments, places most people never get to see. In graffiti culture, difficult locations often carry a certain level of respect. Not because they're dangerous, but because they require determination and planning and commitment to get to. Getting access to places that most people can't reach has always been a major part of graffiti culture. And of course, Aper became closely associated with that side of the scene. One reason Aper became such an interesting figure isn't just because of the graffiti, it's because of the stories. Years of travel naturally led to unusual experiences. experiences, and Aper had shared plenty of them over the years. In one interview, he described experiences in Eastern Europe that sounded almost unbelievable, moments that felt more like scenes from a movie than everyday life, and something many people outside graffiti don't realize. For a lot of graffiti writers, the experiences become just as important as the graffiti itself. The stories are a part of the culture. One of the biggest projects associated with Aper is a graffiti film called Nothing Special. Despite the name, the project became extremely well known within the graffiti community. The film documented years of graffiti and life on the road. Rather than just focusing on a single city or a single mission, it captured an entire lifestyle. The film gained a strong reputation amongst graffiti fans because it showed just how far Aper's journey had taken him. When people talk about Aper, they often focus on the travel, or the trains, or the stories, but his style definitely deserves attention too, because none of those things matter if people can't remember your work. Aper became known for bold, readable lettering, the kind of graffiti you can recognize instantly, the kind of graffiti that stands out whether it's on a freight train or a wall. After years of painting, that style became one of his trademarks. You could often identify an Aper piece before even reading the name. That's when you know a graffiti writer has developed a strong identity. From Canada to train systems and cities across the world, Aper built one of the most recognizable reputations in modern Canadian graffiti. Because his story isn't just about paint, it's about the persistence, the travel, and the commitment. It's about what can happen when someone spends decades pushing their name further and further beyond where they started. Whether you've seen his work in person or you've seen it online, there's no denying one thing. Aper has earned his place as one of Canada's most respected graffiti writers, and he's still going strong today. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, leave a comment. Massive shout out to my channel members, Spookify, STVNSF, or I believe it's Steven, Sardo is Love, Jamin Newell or Newell, Hank 0555, Girl Comma or Girl Coma, basically Brain Dead, Rap Luz, Stay Home, Mona Halaka, Mona Huckler or Mona Hackler. Thank you all for being channel members. I very much appreciate you guys.